Yo, welcome back to the Fantasy Fixers Podcast. I'm your host, Winston Wolf. I know, I've been gone for too long. I'm transitioning from iTunes, so this is the episode 1 of the YouTube experience. And this is the tips and tricks videos to help you kill your draft. Now, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Now, I'm not saying I'm a cheater, but I will go after loopholes or bend the rules a little like Tanya Hardin, if the rules permit. If you're not first, you're last, and you have to win at all costs when it comes to fantasy. It's all about hoisting the belt or the Lombardi trophy in your living room. As long as there are games in this world, then people will find cheats, glitches to get an edge. Now, I'm not saying go full on Lance Armstrong against your league mates, but these tips and tricks will be equivalent to playing fantasy with the Game Genie.
Game over? No way! Cause we got Game Genie!
We tell you when it's over.
With Game Genie, I decide how many lives I get.
I use it when I want to live forever.
Play to the end and win. Maybe I want to start on level 15.
No problem.
Now, you know that was a dope intro. You old heads remember the Game Genie? I was too poor to have one. I was so poor the only game I could play was thumb wrestling. By myself. If you're listening to this through iTunes, add the pod. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, and bang that notification bell. Let's get to it. Tip number 1, know your league settings. I know it seems obvious, but you will have people enter in the chat, typing out hard in caps. Is this PPR? Yes, it is. Quit asking. And you should have already found it out before you enter the chat room. Now, if your league doesn't have an IR spot, call the commission. Tell him he's a newbie. And tell him you're going to slap him if he doesn't add an IR spot in the settings. After he curses you out and doesn't change the settings, DM me. And I'll hack his account for a small fee of $3,000. After I add the IR spot, what you want to do is add a hurt player during the draft. Don't draft a kicker. Once the draft is over, you slide that player into IR, then you go grab a kicker. For instance, Chris Godwin might not start a season, so you draft him late, plug him in the IR spot, then select the kicker after the draft. Now, if Godwin plays, then drop some other bum to the waiver wire. That's on your team. And if you don't think you drafted any bums, go back and look at your draft from last year. I guarantee you'll notice that you drafted a couple of bums. Tip number 2, know the ADPs and mock draft like crazy. I hate when the commish doesn't set the draft order early as well. If you're a commish that waits 30 minutes before the draft to randomize the draft order, I hope your puppy gets gingivitis. Once you get your draft spot, you have to go in and do mock drafts so you know the placements of players. Do a mock draft on the same day as you draft as well, because the ADPs are changing more than Mystique and X-Men. Tip number 3, F whatever draft strategy you thought you were going to do. Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. You don't know who you're going to take until it's your turn on the clock and it's moving closer and closer towards 0. And don't be married to a player, because you might be set on Najee Harris beforehand. But what do you do when Jamar Chase falls into your lap at number 9? At the 9 spot, rather. Tip number 4, have balance. Don't just take all upside players. There needs to be a mixture of safe players and boom players. Somebody will be typing in the comments and say, this is the NFL. How many players are really safe? Shut your mouth. Breece Hall and Keenan Allen are 2 spots away from each other in the ADP. You tell me who seems safer. Tip number 5, know who's behind you. Not like a scary movie where you have to fall all over the place until the killer gets you. But know who's drafting behind you. For instance, if you're in the 9 spot in a 10-man league, and this is a snake draft we're talking about, the 10th man has back-to-back picks behind your pick. Let's say you don't have a QB yet, but the 10th guy does. If he's not an idiot, he won't pick another QB early. So you can draft not cornerback. You can draft a wide receiver or running back, then get your QB after the 10th guy has his pick. Tip number 6. Draft stud wide receivers and load up on as many running backs as your league permits. If I have 6 bench spots, I have 5 running backs on the bench. Guys get hurt, and the running back is a revolving door because you're not supposed to run full speed into refrigerators for a living. Running backs get hurt more than Michael Vick playing rugby with high heels and a blindfold on. Tip number 7. All handcuffs aren't created equal. I personally hate handcuffs because I feel like I'm waiting on that running back's downfall. And how long do you hold a handcuff? After about 3 weeks, I am done holding a handcuff. And I don't handcuff them anyway. Handcuffs can't be held with when your fantasy life depends on the waiver wire. I've been playing fantasy football since about 69, and I've never seen a person win a league from drafting good players alone. The draft is a foundation, but the catalyst is making waiver wire moves. Tip number 8, find the sweet spot to draft a QB. I would never be the first person to draft a QB, so I will own zero stock in Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I just hate the way my team is constructed afterwards. So I think the sweet spot is around 5 or 6. At that time, you'll have 2 running backs, 2 stud wide receivers, and most people, they punt on tight end, so you wait on tight end. There won't be much of a difference between Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, barring any injuries. If your league has 4 points per passing touchdowns, then you target a running QB over a traditional statue that doesn't get any rushing yards. Tip number 9, go with your gut. It's okay to pull a trigger on a player if he's a my guy. If you have a gut feeling that a player is going to go crazy, draft that guy. Don't possibly wait another round and risk the chance of not getting that guy. Tip number 10, don't take it personal, Monica. People are in your life for seasons. Shout out to Aunt Viv. But that doesn't mean it can't be in your life for 2 seasons. So you drafted Saquon and CMC last year and they broke your heart. Like when you passed your crush the note in class that said, "Do you like me? Yes or no?" And she not only circled the no, but she inserted a 4-letter word in front of the no. I get it. Both got hurt and your team plummeted faster than Trevor on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But that's no reason not to forgive them and amend the relationship you once had. It's okay to rekindle the flame. Your mama beat you with your sister's cheerleading trophy, but you forgave her, and you still love her, right? Keep that same energy for the guys who hurt you last season. It just may pay off in the long run. CMC is a walking 25-point guy. If he plays 17 games, then he's the RB1. That's worth taking a shot on. This should be called 15 Minute Fantasy. I'm trying to create basically a podcast that I will want to listen to. Now, granted, I will listen to a podcast for 2 hours if time permits, but most people have about 15, 20 minutes is all they got for you. And that's all I need to get my point across. But I will have the 11 through 20 part 2 of the tips that you'll need to kill your fantasy draft coming soon. And I'm out.